Today, I had the amazing opportunity to survive Project Zomboid's Nox event with a key member of their dev team, Christian Allen, aka Serellan, the design director over at the Indie Stone. Live on my Twitch stream, we gathered loot, built a base, and fought off many zomboids together, all while discussing Serellan's background in the gaming industry, the upcoming stable release of Build 42, the future of the game, and so much more. This is by far my longest video yet, so I really hope you enjoy. Definitely grab a snack, subscribe if you're new, and let's jump into it.
Good, sir. How's it going?
I'm so happy to be chatting with you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to play some Zomboid with us. Before, I guess, we even dive into the server, though, do you want to quickly introduce yourself for anybody who maybe doesn't know who you are, Serellan?
Sure, everybody. Hey, how's it going? I'm Christian Allen, and I am the design director on Project Zomboid at the Indie Stone. And I'm excited to be on the stream and not just lurking in chat like I normally do.
Do you lurk very often?
Every once in a while. I pop in, I lurk around, I like to check out your stream, a couple other folks. And yeah, see what people are doing. It's definitely awesome to see, like, you know, what you and some of the other bigger streamers do, and especially a lot of the cool events you do. And then I actually really enjoy just the smaller streamers, especially when folks are just kind of playing the game, not really looking for an audience. So I get to see, you know, what people are doing, what friction they run up against, and take a lot of notes for myself.
Oh, wow. So you actually do like research almost when you're watching too. It's almost like work.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, I build a company for that time.
You say you're the design director of Project Zomboid. What precisely does that entail?
The role specifically is a new one for the Indie Stone, a new one for Project Zomboid. I joined late last year full-time. My role is to focus on player-facing features. So in the short term, when I joined in the fall, I was really focusing on a lot of player friction points. So things like the right mouse click interactions. I did a lot of work on the weapons, places where things might be inconsistent. You know, you interact with one thing one way and a different item a different way. And just trying to bring that design focus to many of the features across the game. Okay.
So you're kind of seeing everything from a bird's eye view, essentially.
Yeah. A lot of thing, you know, design does is thinking about, you know, someone is building a feature or working on a feature, and they're like, well, you know, how exactly should this interface work, or how should the player interact with that? And then, you know, looking across the board, okay, well, it works here this way, so here's a way to do it consistently. A good example of that is integrating the crafting interface into, or kind of back into right click, as you might remember, like barricades were moved out of right click into the crafting menu. Right. And looking at how to conquer that is like, I worked with RJ, the lead gameplay engineer, to work on the like crafting shortcut and the crafting hot elements. So if you have the correct elements for crafting on an item, it shows up just as a, you know, button, you know, just as a click. Yeah, and things like that.
I personally love that the context menu was brought back in, because I know there was that weird little period where a lot of stuff was stripped out of it that felt a little awkward to play, and I'm glad that was kind of brought back in. Well, there's going to be so many questions, I'm sure, throughout the day
Sure.
tonight. But I want to make sure we get into some gaming. I'm at the server spawn, and I wanted to ask you your opinion on this. Where would you like to spawn? I asked my community last night. They would love to see us in Moldraw, but I'm curious what you like to play at, and we can do whatever you want.
No, Moldraw's old school. That's the default. Let's do it. While I was sitting here, I kind of whipped up basically, you know, I know we're only going to get a few days in, so I did a pretty combat heavy build. I've got all my regular, not too bad negatives, although I left off slow reader just in case because we're on multiplayer. But I just got my positive or dexterous, brave, tinkerer, fit, and strong. So I like to go melee, long blunt if I can, built on construction worker. Construction worker is a good, nice, good, balanced melee build. So yeah, that's what I kind of threw together. I figured we'd be smashing a lot of heads. I'm not the best Zomboid player. You're definitely more experienced as far as combat than I am. I'm pretty good, but we'll see. Y'all will probably see me die a bunch.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. It'll be a good time. It's crazy. I'm going construction worker as well. We kind of are almost mimic each other a little bit.
Rock and roll, yeah.
Let's jump in. I'm spawning in. I've already got my character. I'm ready to go. Oh, and there we go. Hello there.
Look at that hairstyle. I'm rocking it.
You are looking good right now. I like that hairstyle.
Ines Driver. That's who I am.
Ines Driver?
Yes, Ines, something like that.
I am Colby Clark. I didn't pick that. That was just random. That kind of sings though. I like it. Well, we can kind of take a look around our starting home. Did you see one out there? Because I definitely heard someone out there.
I didn't. I just peeked out the window real quick. Ooh, okay. I got a knife.
Was there any food in here at all, or no? Oh, there was.
I grabbed a milk chocolate bar. I didn't check the fridge. I think.
There's so much in there. There's lard too.
Nice. Yeah. I got a lighter. I think I took smoker. Did I take smoker?
I think I took smoker as well, actually. So I will need to get cigarettes.
Yeah.
We're kind of down. I think we're close to Corman Medical, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we're on that. Yeah, on that little curvy bit.
Do you think you want to head up there? Do you think you want to turn that into our base?
I love that building.
The recreation of it, or the improvement in Build 42, has been amazing to see. I love what it has become.
It's definitely come a long way. The team's been working really hard on it, and I'm not sure if you saw the announcement yesterday, but we just published kind of the map to stable.
I did see that. I was gonna bring that up a little bit later, but we can talk about that now. No, you are all good. This is a perfect segue. After about 2 years of development work, we're seeing Build 42 finally go stable. How does it feel to have reached that point?
Hold on. Okay, I crushed your head. Yes, it's super exciting. Exciting and terrifying at the same time. Obviously, I'm the new guy on the team, so this is my first rodeo going into reading glasses. Ooh, reading glasses. Sweet.
Oh, are you short-sighted?
No, yeah, I am. But 10% reading buff, baby.
So true.
Sorry, I'm not used to doing it. Chatting while I'm playing.
You're fine. My thinking was like, during the day we can go out and loot and clear places out. And at nighttime we can work on the base, relax, and maybe that's where we can do a lot of like questions and answers.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, overall, this is a really exciting time. The team's been working really hard, and it's going to be nice, especially to, see it hit the broader, Steam user base, folks that don't want to opt into unstable builds, and that ride. So yeah, super exciting times. And there's a lot of players out there, a lot of folks out there that they don't really pay attention to updates and things like that. So it'll be kind of a nice, feedback loop for me to be able to see, okay, here's folks that just, to them, one day they just logged in and it's like, hey, what's this B42 thing? Wait, it's, completely dark at night. Wait, these things work differently. Oh, I can do all these new cool things. So it's going to be a lot of information to process, but again, also, a lot of people have been waiting, right? Like, a lot of people don't want to play where their build can, get nuked by an update, or might have to reset, a server or anything like that.
100%. I think you make a really good point, because what I've noticed as well, there are some players, it's almost like Minecraft in a way.
Watch your left.
Oh, yep, that little guy. Hello there. Oh, there's many little guys behind the shed. Yeah. That's awesome. Okay. I have yet to find a weapon, by the way. That's why I'm kind of still pushing. Is this... Yeah, all the buildings are locked. Wow. The Apocalypse sandbox does not mess around with the locked doors. I feel like a lot of buildings get locked.
Yeah, whoever set those values is such an idiot.
Here, I'll try to get us inside the building.
Okay, I'll tag these.
Okay. Oh, perfect. This window was open. Wait, I'm being told there was a key we passed?
Oh, of course.
The keys are so tough. I miss them so often.
I know, you got to keep an eye out for them. They're hard.
Foraging is good for that. Activating foraging mode. But yeah, it was for this red car right here. Oh my gosh.
Oh. Does that have gas?
No, it does not.
Oh.
You know, Serellan, it's so interesting that, like, right before the zombie apocalypse broke out, everybody parked their cars and then siphoned all of the fuel out of them to make sure no one would have gasoline.
Yes, and then they threw the keys on the ground.
Yes.
I won't give it away. I'm not going to give it away, but there's a little bit of lore stuck in there somewhere about the gas bandits.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we'll have to be on the lookout for that then. By the way, are you going to eat this bacon that's cooked up in the microwave?
No, no, go for it.
Oh, okay. You know what? I'll have half of it, and you can have the rest.
That is actually a recent feature that microwaves can have bacon. They can have, I think, cups of coffee. It's a recent thing.
Oh, that's so sick. I love going into a house and seeing, like, a meal that was, like, halfway being prepared. Like, you see a steak on the table with, like, veggies lying by it. The environmental storytelling at times in this game is also another hook for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Environmental storytelling is, you know, both the intended stuff, you know, the more dramatic, you know, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the creepy compound of folks living off the grid. The way that the procedural systems, like the loot stories, and then, you know, the Zed stories of spawning, like, work together to build out the world. It really comes together. It's so much better, in my opinion, than more scripted events. You know, scripted type stuff is cool, but you very quickly as a player learn, like, oh yeah, okay, you know, every time I come around the corner, you know, this spawns or whatever, and it starts to lose its magic. But when you have, you know, the crashed ambulance in the middle of nowhere with the, you know, Zed still, you know, you got the two drivers and then the patient, things like that, really bring the world together.
So what I was thinking, since we have the key for that red car, we could probably check this parking lot by the church and see maybe one of those cars have some fuel or something.
I got a rubber hose and a gas can, so we can siphon.
Which car are you siphoning right now?
The white van.
Okay, I'll cover you. There's only one little guy coming on over.
He's taking his time.
Yep.
Or she. Or
they're slow little creatures every now and then.
That's one of the interesting changes we actually made to default Apocalypse, is having the varied. I like having the differing movement speeds, just because it makes especially when you're you know, kiting big crowds, you don't have as much control, whereas if they're either just slow or just fast shamblers, they're all kind of the same and you can move them all the same. But having that variety in their speed, even without sprinters, adds a lot of challenge. You can't just you know, make them go exactly where you want to go. Ooh, beer. The trunk is full of beer.
No way, stop.
There is, look.
Oh my god. Wait, there's so much of it's empty too. You know what? This could potentially explain why there was no gasoline in the car. Maybe they just got so drunk they ripped it all out. With our red car filled up with gasoline, we were able to drive over to Cortman Medical, where we would end up deciding to establish our base for this playthrough.
Got my short blunt now.
Yeah, I found a saucepan. So kind of just diving in there right now, Serellan. Let me know if we need to back out.
Just jump right into it. Okay.
If we need to back out, we can. Let me know. We should be okay, and I feel like also with the fence right behind us, some of them might get confused and want the fence instead. And just as I surmise, some of them do like the fence.
Yeah.
Well, it is going to be getting nighttime soon, so I guess it's good that we got to Cortman Medical when we did. I've got to go wash up my character, too. I took Fear of Blood, so my character's freaking out right now.
Yeah, I used to run Fear of Blood a lot, but recently I kind of stopped running it just because running out of water, washing all the time, kind of became an issue. Although one thing I did, I just set up a mannequin near my base, and so every time I came home, I'd just do the auto swap to swap all my belly clothes to the mannequin.
That is so smart. I've never thought of doing that with a mannequin.
It's got a basically swap clothes option on the mannequin inputs, and so you can just walk up to it, hit swap, and it'll just swap your outfit with their outfit, and it works great for Fear of Blood. So you can basically just, or Discomfort too, if you're wearing a lot of armor, when you get back from a run and you're not actually in combat to reduce stress, you can just whip that off and clean it up.
I will say that is something that I know a lot of people have brought up as maybe a pain point in Build 42. They don't necessarily understand or like the discomfort system in the game right now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've seen that feedback, and you know, if you saw in the game mode rework that we put out, I think it was 15 or 16. I actually we dialed down discomfort a good amount. One of the big changes I made based on that feedback, the way that discomfort actually adds to stress. One of the things that lowers stress, besides smoking, is actually combat. So you can fully basically armor up, and then while you're actually in combat, you might build some stress, but it's not instantly leading to depression like it was before, where you would just finish you clear out a horde and then you just, super unhappy. But I understand that some people aren't happy with it and don't like it. It does have a gameplay, effect of encouraging you to, not be sleeping in plate armor and full gas masks all the time. I don't know. I've never tried to sleep in plate armor, but I assume that would be quite uncomfortable. And of course, sandbox and server options. That's one of the things I love about Project Zomboid, is being able to expose those values to the player. And, if anybody wants to quote me on it, playing sandbox is just as valid as playing any other version of Zomboid that there is. So, if there's a feature, if you don't like the XP gain, crank it up. If you don't like the trait costs, give yourself some points. If you don't like discomfort, set it to 0.
The thing you have to remember about Zomboid, in my opinion, is it's meant to be a sandbox game first. So
it is.
I love that you bring up the point that you can alter anything you want in this game. If you are annoyed by it, there is very likely an option in the menu that you can go into and adjust to whatever you want it to be. And if there's not, the modding scene is huge in this game too. So I know for a fact there's lots of mods. For example, there was one mod I saw where planks become extremely light. So if you want to be a carpenter just going around building mansions, you can do that with no issue. I think early on, Zomboid, no matter what difficulty settings you put it on, is actually an incredibly challenging game. And I remember some of my first runs, the very first run I ever did, I spawned Rosewood, I heard zombies outside my building, and I was so scared to move because I understand one bite, you're done for, your run is over. I didn't want to leave the house. I literally just stayed in the house, closed all of the curtains, and just hoped they would run away from my home. And of course, they never did. They eventually found their way inside because I kept making noise. And that was just so terrifying to me. But that's part of the joy as well, is learning this game and getting over that fear of the zombies.
Yeah, that was one of my early experiences as well. I think my very first run, I died from breaking a car window with my elbow and bleeding out. Yeah, in Muldraw, that hotel over by the trailer park. I swear, on my first actual run, I spent probably 3 weeks inside that hotel, just running of game time, like running out during the day, grabbing a couple cans of food, running back in, closing the door. And then I distinctly remember when the power went out and I was trapped. I was in the lower floor of the hotel. I had started knocking out walls between the rooms to expand my quote unquote base. And and then the helicopter came and things went really bad.
The helicopter event. You know what? That is a question I do have. And maybe you can't necessarily answer it. But I'm just curious because a lot of people have always wondered, why does the helicopter just fly by and follow you around?
Well, I can't give away the lore secret. That is a buried thing. But there is a story behind it, but I can't say just yet. I want people to find it for themselves someday.
Is it something that's in the game right now, or is it going to be added in a future update?
No, it's not in the game now, but
okay.
It's planned at some point to find out the mystery behind who the helicopter is, how it got through the no-fly zone, and what it's doing.
Well, if you're okay with it, it is getting pretty late. Do you want to relax in the building and we can kind of get into some serious Q&A stuff?
Yeah, I'm upstairs. There's actually an extra fanny pack over here. If you wanna...
You're a supporter of the fanny pack?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm just not much of a fanny pack person, I'm gonna be honest. I'd rather just take a satchel or a bigger bag, in my opinion, but I can understand why some might want the fanny pack, because it is nice for organization.
Oh, here it is. Here, I did have it. I threw it in my backpack. There you go. There's fanny pack.
All right, just for you, I'll wear the fanny pack. Just for you.
Well, luckily, it'll be hidden by your stylish leather coat. So.
Oh, very true. All right, there we go. So there's really no downside then. Well, Serellan, thank you so much again. I want to say one more time, thank you for joining us tonight. This is insane. A lot of people in chat have loved to see you come and join us in the community and kind of chill with us for a little bit. Obviously, I've seen your interview with Mr. Atomic Duck, but really quick, for anybody who hasn't, do you want to give like a quick little backstory about some of the other games you've worked on? Because you've been in the games industry for a while, Serellan.
I've been in the industry. I got my first professional job in the early 2000s. I actually started as a modder back in Alaska. I started making mods for Rainbow Six and the sequel, Rainbow Six Rogue Spear. Actually, for my LAN group, we would get together and play every Friday night. And I started making mods for them and then put them up on the internets, on the old File Planet and stuff like that. And they started getting popular. So I got really into modding. I was spending a ton of time doing it. And at a certain point, my wife gave me an ultimatum to either get a job doing it or quit doing it. And yeah, so decided to try to get into games. It took me a while, but I eventually got hired at Red Storm Entertainment. Started there working on primarily focused on Ghost Recon. I was supposed to get to work on Rainbow Six, but obviously Ghost Recon turned out to be awesome as well. So was there for about 5 years on I think my first ship title was Island Thunder on the Xbox, and then worked on through Gra 2, I think Future Soldier and Predator were my last Ghost Recon titles. From there, I went over to Bungie. I was design lead on Halo Reach. I got to work on that for a bit, which was super cool. Went to Warner Brothers. Again, classic games industry. Got hired to work on Mad Max. Worked on that for a little bit, and then moved over to some DC stuff and IP evaluations for kind of head Warner Brothers. And then spent some time working on what would eventually become Shadows of Mordor. Working on Lord of the Rings, got to go down and see Peter Jackson and do a bunch of the stuff around The Hobbit, which was, obviously super cool for a little nerd like me to, be down at Weta and holding Sting and doing all that cool stuff. From there, I spun up my own company. I did the indie route that most AAA folks do. Did a Kickstarter, had a game that we actually put the game out, but didn't do as good as we hoped it would. So from there, I moved on. I had been doing a bunch of like experimental, crazy VR exploratory thing where you're a blind person in VR, which was kind of fun. And from there, Epic actually reached out to me, and so I joined Epic as an evangelist, and my role was primarily focused on helping indie devs using Unreal Engine. I got to spend 6 years just like really immersed in the indie scene and helping them both from a technical standpoint on the Unreal side, but also on business development and marketing and getting on the Epic Games Store and dealing with just being really immersed in the indie game space. And so in 2023, I got hit as part of the great layoffs. Epic was on the cutting edge and started laying everybody off before everybody else in the industry thought it was cool. I was doing some consulting on a variety of different projects, and one of them that came up was IndieStone, and I'd been in touch with TIS since I first emailed them back in 2011 and had been trading emails and had met with them a couple times at like Game Developers Conference. And so I did some consulting, and then eventually that kind of snowballed into this role, the first dedicated game designer to work on Project Zomboid, which is, in my opinion, so far like the pinnacle of game design work. It's amazing, and very appreciative to the team and the community for giving me this opportunity.
You mentioned you had your own indie studio at one point. Can you kind of talk behind what made you decide I want to do this and how that process all went?
Yeah, it's a little crazy because I don't know. I look back on some of these stories and they sound made up. But I had left Warner Brothers in late 11. It's kind of the default when you leave a company and you like go out on LinkedIn and you're like, hey, I'm looking for new opportunities. And usually the first ones that roll in are consulting. Like, hey, can you come in for a short-term gig, help us, do some design stuff here, do some design stuff there. So I had thrown up a web page, and it was Serellan.com because I created a company to do the consulting, like do all the billing and stuff.
Right.
Well, because that's my gamer tag, one of the Ghost Recon fan sites wrote a shout out to Rocky from ghostrecon.net. He wrote like an article and he was like, Christian Allen just created this web page for Serellan, and that's his like gamer tag, and it's also what I used on like the Ghost Recon forums and stuff. Like, is he making a new tactical shooter? And I was like, that's like really interesting. And then people started like messaging me like, I heard you were making a new tactical shooter, like that would be so cool. And right around that same time, this would have been like by January of 2012, that around that same time, Kickstarter became a thing. I had pitched hardcore tactical shooters all around the block 10 times over, and I've always got turned down. At that time in 2011, 2012, tactical shooters were considered dead. SOCOM was dead. Ghost Recon had moved into a new world. At the time, Rainbow was pretty stagnant. This is before Siege, although I don't think you can define that as a tactical shooter much anymore. But I said, well, maybe I should see if this Kickstarter thing is viable. Then maybe it means people actually are interested in it, and publishers are just wrong. And so I took a stab at it, and I did it. The Kickstarter was successful, and I at the same time. Sony had just closed Zipper Interactive, which was the main SOCOM developer. So I was able to bring in folks from Zipper, and we built a game called Takedown. Like I said, it didn't end up being the execution that I would have liked with a bigger budget and more time. And I was also I learned a lot of lessons in the difference between AAA game development and indie game development, and how you have to be more agile. My biggest mistake was probably treating it like a AAA development, and eventually we partnered with a publisher to kind of do more of the publishing side. But that was about the time I actually first emailed the Indie Stone and was like, hey, I'm doing this too. Like, you guys have this really cool model, like any tips or any tricks? And unfortunately, I probably should have taken more of their advice. Maybe I'd have my still be running my own studio, but it all came together in the end. Here I sit, so that worked out.
The stars align sometimes in mysterious ways, but I think everything works out for a reason, and I think the work you've been doing on Zomboid is so important. So I appreciate you joining the team over there, and even if the indie studio didn't go the way you wanted, like you said, you probably learned a ton, and you probably gained a lot of knowledge on the indie side, and combining that with your AAA experience, you probably have a very in-depth view of the industry as a whole. And I kind of want to touch on that really quickly, because there's been a lot going on in the gaming space. You yourself said there's been a lot of layoffs recently. I mean, there's been some very large games shutting down, for example, Destiny 2 recently, Xbox selling off many of their studios. What is your take on what's happening right now? What is your opinion on the state of the industry?
Yeah, it's definitely been a big shift, and obviously the Xbox changes and some of the stuff at Bungie and are kind of fresh in our mind. But this has been going on for a couple of years now. I joked earlier that Epic was on the cutting edge because they were one of the few first studios to have a big layoff in this kind of round. Some of this is cyclical, right? Like, I joke that people are like, oh, Microsoft acquired a bunch of studios and then got rid of a bunch of studios. I'm like, again? Like, okay, you mean like FOSSA, Ensemble? Like that's happened before. But also, a lot of what we're seeing is adjustment to COVID. And I mean the influx of people into gaming during COVID. You know, so many more people were staying home and playing games. Huge influx of people, huge influx of money, both from players playing games, but also from like VCs. I remember jealously looking back on, you know, the story I just told about 2012 of like not being able to ever raise money to make games. By 2021, it was like, hey, I've got 3 people and we're going to make an extraction shooter, or actually at the time, we're going to make a battle royale. You know, there'd be some VC around the corner to be like, okay, here's $10 million, go do it. Because, you know, with 0% interest rates, VCs could basically, I mean, if I was them, if I was smart, I probably would have done this. So I'd take out a 0% loan for $5 million, turn around, flip it into a VR, you know, thing or a video game. And if the $5 million turns into $50 million, then you're golden. And if it turns into 0, well, oh well, declare bankruptcy and do it again. All that led to an oversaturation. It led to overhiring. It led to, you know, a lot of people, you know, we saw everybody chasing battle royales in you know, 2018, 2019, 2020. And then, you know, oh, hey, there's this cool new game called Tarkov. Let's all do extraction shooters. You know, here's 10,000 extraction shooters. And the gamers, you know, gamers can only play one of those at a time. And, you know, I remember very distinctly in 2020 being in a room with incredibly high profile, very smart video game people. And I guess technically I wouldn't have been in a room with them. This would have been over Zoom. But them saying like, okay, one of the important things we have to remember is we can't treat this as a baseline. We need to know that, you know, this huge influx that we've had is going to drop off at some point. You know, once people start going back to school and going back to work, and you know, if the economics of anything change, like we can't, you know, treat this as the new normal. Well, meanwhile, 3-4 years later, those same very smart executive people were treating it as the new normal. And I think a lot of what we're seeing in the industry is because of that. VC money has dried up in general, so you can't just, you know, like, oh, this game didn't work out, I didn't make any money, okay, I'll just go back to the VCs and get another, you know, infusion for my next project that I want to build. So publishers are getting more conservative and looking at what they're doing, so they're funding less titles. Companies aren't able to, you know, carry as many people. So I think all of those things combined with, you know, a, you know, maybe more informed player base that, you know, you know, when money's a little tighter in the world, you might not just go out and, you know, buy a title because it looks cool. You might go, well, I'm going to wait and see the reviews. I'm going to wait and see if it, you know, there's enough player base. I'm going to wait and see that, you know, all of those things combined, I think, to lead to a lot of the contraction. I think that's what we're really in, is a contraction in the industry in general. And I think indies can be uniquely positioned to roll with that kind of stuff. You know, they have less overhead. There's less, you know, craziness of like, well, if we don't ship this title, you know, this fiscal year, then, you know, we're screwed. And also they tend to only be working on one project at a time. Whereas, you know, when you're at a AAA publisher, you know, and their, you know, big RPG flames out, that could affect your team, because all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, we were going to hire 20 people to help us with multiplayer. And they're like, no, you're not. And you're like, what? Why not? Well, because this other game that was supposed to make money didn't make money. And guess what? You're also in next quarter because we need to make money next quarter. And you're like, wait, we were supposed to come out a year from now. Well, not anymore.
So kind of just to sum up basically your opinion, it's a lot of mismanagement from the higher ups thinking COVID time is always going to happen, the economy, and just simply more competition, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think more competition. I mean, the tools have been getting easier and easier and easier to create good games. You know, where when I started my indie studio on Unreal 3, you know, you didn't just open it up and already have a character running around and just go, okay, now I just start putting in assets and just start adjusting it. So, you know, more people can make games, which is great. It's great for the consumer. I mean, it's one of the best times for the consumer right now. I mean, I don't know if what your Steam library looks like, but mine is like,
it's thick,
full of games. Yeah,
it's thick.
Like,
I've gotten a lot over the Steam summer sale.
Yeah.
And you were right, though. Indies kind of have taken over, in my opinion, because, quite frankly, the AAA market, there's nothing coming out that really excites me. It's like Call of Duty number 28. It's like, I don't really care. But then indie games come out. There's always something fresh. They're always entertaining. And as a consumer, they're always like $5 to $10 normally. They're not that expensive.
Yeah, and indie developers can, they can, and I hate to use this term because I hear other people say it, and I cringe a little inside just knowing what it means. But when folks say indies they can afford to take more risks. The reason I hate the term is because afford, because someone's usually spending their 401k or whatever they've saved up to try to build their dream passion project, but they can be more nimble and rapidly put something else out. An indie team of 3 people can put out a demo and try to gauge reaction, and a lot of times there's a ton of them, and I've worked with a bunch of them in my role at Epic. They put something out and it just quietly never gets any interest. Either it looked too much like something else, or just people weren't interested in it. And then that indie team can go, well, do we want to just keep tooling along with this as a hobby project? Do we want to try something else? Do we want to try something different? Do we want to just say, screw it, we don't want to do this? Where, in the AAA space, just to get to that point of like, we're going to release a demo, you've already put $50 million into it. And, shareholders aren't going to be like, oh, we put out this demo and it wasn't really well received, so we just decided to can it. And just eat the 50 mil we spent on it. That's not going to happen. They've already committed at that point. And so then that leaves to being more safe of going like, oh, well, if we, get this guy that worked on Halo from Bungie and pair him with this, engineer that also worked on, this feature on Lord of the Rings, we put them together and then we make a Tarkov-like game, and then we license, this Disney movie and stick it all together. We stick all these things together, it'll make a guaranteed profit project, and it'll just be safe. And it won't be, anything scary. Well, then you get what you would expect out of just, globbing those things together. You get a lot of, kind of Me Too's. All these things come together, and a lot of people blame AI. I don't really. I honestly, I think some maybe dumb people have been like, I can just fire my entire staff and use AI. I think they'll be hiring staff back soon.
There was one company that did that recently, no?
I heard it wasn't a gaming company. I heard some like car company did that. They fired a bunch of people and then went, oops.
Well, thank you, Serellan, for answering those questions. It was
I'm
very
not good at keeping things concise, I guess.
No, it's fun. I love it because it's just interesting to hear from your perspective, because like all day we're chatting with ourselves here in the community, and we're all, for the most part, gamers. We just play games, so like we don't necessarily hear this side of it, so it's interesting to get your take on that.
All right, I'm gonna make a bowl of food because I'm a little sad here, and I have a bowl.
I'm gonna have this muffin. I think I heard zombies outside of our base as well, so I'll probably do like a little perimeter check too.
Oh, I've got hamburger buns. I can make a hamburger.
Ooh.
Nice. Processed cheese.
Oh, that's your smoker tray. I thought for a second you caught a cold. I was like, wait.
Oh, did I just cough? Oh.
You did.
On my end. Heard me.
I did. Yeah, they're actually. I'll deal with that. If you can make the hamburgers, I'll have a hamburger. You know, it's noon. It's lunchtime. Oh, yeah. Here's a little guy. Hello. There we go. Goodbye. Oh no, they're breaking our windows now. That was a very loud cough to have alerted all the zombies from outside the building, huh?
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
I'm making you the most brilliant cheese, corn, and marinara burger you've ever had.
It's cheese, corn, and marinara sauce?
Yeah, with some garlic powder. It's gonna. If you got any sadness, it'll take care of it right away.
It won't add to it?
No. If you do it right.
Okay.
Trust me, I'm an expert. I'm a cooking expert.
I trust you on that. I'll take your word. I am actually apparently miserable. I don't know why. Throughout our time chatting with one another.
It's because we're smokers, and we're just sitting there ignoring our smoking.
Somehow this will, in fact, make me happy. My thinking for today was, if we need cigarettes, we can go up to the building, the store, right across the way. But then afterwards, maybe we hit up Mass Genfac for hammers and planks.
Yes.
All right, and off we go. Oh, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Nice. Look at all those aprons, and they're black ones too. I love the black ones.
You like
I guess
the
we're not going
aprons?
to be doing just for tailoring later down the road. You know, throw some leather onto them.
Likely won't be going insanely far into this playthrough, but I mean, you never know. You never know. Oh, hold up.
Hey, we can make the whole run just us leveling up tailoring. That would be really exciting for everybody to watch.
I'm sure everybody will love the endless ripping of clothes and all that. I guess that's actually a good segue. I mean, there's been a conversation going around in my chat a little bit that some of the skills in this game are very, very grindy. With tailoring being a good example. I think first aid is another key one people point to. Mechanics. There's a couple different skills out there that are kind of pain points. Are you guys looking at that, or in your eyes, is that kind of like the experience? Like, you are going to have to grind a little bit.
Well, definitely we're looking at it. I actually just recently did a pass-through on tailoring to try to buff up some of the higher-end build stuff from an EXP standpoint. That launched a little while ago to try to encourage, you know, ideally you want it to be either organic, you know, i.e. maintenance, right? Like,
Right.
I hit things and they don't break, and then I get better at it. Or, you know, something more that you know, cooking. Oh my God, hold on.
Oh,
Baseball
okay?
bat in a garbage bag,
Oh.
baby. Metal baseball bat in a garbage bag. Always check garbage bags. They're amazing.
Yeah, this the fridges in here are filled with delicious food. I haven't found cigarettes though. Have you?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So, you know, it's funny because like cooking, if you just sat down and said, I'm going to level cooking now, and I'm not going to leave this room until my cooking is level, that would be incredibly grindy. But since you tend to, along the way, you know, make salads and make sandwiches and do things, you tend to kind of naturally amp that up. But we don't want it to feel grindy. So, like, for example, one of the negatives that I'd like to address at some point is, like, you know, people are like, I want to carve cool stuff. I want to carve spears and do cool stuff. But the best way for me to do that is sit here and make 1,000 spoons. Like, that's not the intended experience. A lot of that is, you know, how the numbers work out and how things work out, you know, kind of more the meta. But, for example, the introduction of new VHS tapes for a bunch of the skills to be able to get kind of past that level 1 hump, be doing loot runs, you know, going out and hitting VHS stores, as opposed to disassemble, you know, 1,000 watches or whatever. Then it's going to be a long-term thing. It's not going to be something that, you know, we're going to pull the trigger tomorrow and everybody's going to be like, amazing, all these, like, I want the skills to be like really long-term viable.
Sir, I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm so sorry. We might want to leave. We might want to go.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I maybe made a bit of a mistake. I went to go check this vehicle for cigarettes. I think there actually are cigarettes in there too that I didn't grab. If you can cover me for like 5 seconds, I can dive in there, I can grab them, and we can go.
Alright, come out.
Alright.
Oh! Yeah, that'll do it.
There were cigarettes. Perfect. Alright. We're good.
Nice.
We can leave. That was on me. I'm sorry. I didn't see any in the building, so I was like, I'll check this car super quick.
So, what always gets you in Zomboid.
Yeah.
I'll just do this real quick.
In and out, and then all of a sudden...
that. Oh, dude!
Oh, I didn't mean to do that. He wouldn't want it to waste our meat. Alright, he wouldn't want the meat to be wasted. Oh my god, he ran far away. I have to take him. I'm so sorry, little buddy.
Is it a bunny?
It was a little rat.
Oh.
A little rat. We'll feast upon him later. It's fine. He would want this. He would want this.
Yes, he wants us to use all parts of him.
Yes. Oh, we might have to stop at Spiffo's on our way back. Maybe for a little Spiffo plush.
Oh, yeah.
The value meal. The children's toy. This is kind of a personal question. Well, not really a personal, but it's like a me question. Why does the teddy bear weigh 5 encumbrance?
That is a very, very good question, and I honestly, that has bothered me a bit too. That's going to be on my list. Yeah, we hit a bunch of the encumbrance stuff. There was there's still some outliers out there. Teddy bears is teddy bears are just have been low on the to-do list, but I think 5 is a little excessive. I think the idea was, the bulk of them, because it is a pretty large teddy bear. But
well, it's Took Bear, no? It's Took Bear?
Yeah. But the other plushies are quite a bit lighter. Boots. I will admit, if you ever see a screenshot of one of my bases, all my beds are always full of stuffed animals, because I love the idea of like the survivor that like is just out crushing skulls, and then all he wants to do is just like sleep in a little circle of stuffed animals around him. I don't know. It's a little kid in me. I always do it.
I love decorating my base with plushies.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
one of my favorite aspects. Decorating my base in general. Just whatever I can get my hands on. Sometimes gnomes, the flamingos.
Oh, someone's still banging on a window somewhere. Oh, and they just broke. Wait. Oh, in the break room.
Oh, dear.
Oh, 3 of them. Whoa!
I'm coming back. I'm coming back. Hold on.
Sharpies.
Are you okay?
I'm bitten.
No! Are you actually?
Of course I am. That's no. Bandit. I went for the window kill, and there was 3 more right behind him, and they all came in on top of me. I was too ambitious. I should have fallen back.
I was gonna say a moment ago, I was so excited because I found us a carton of nails and so many planks and all this.
Well, I should last a couple days.
You'll be fine. For another 2 days, you'll be okay. You'll be fine.
Yeah, and maybe this bite isn't the one. Maybe this one, I'm like immune, right?
You could be the first zomboid survivor that's actually fully immune.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the only thing we need right now is planks, quite frankly. I've got a hammer. I've got some saws for us.
Okay, just for the audience, I normally don't get this bit this fast in a run. Yeah. God.
How often do you play Zomboid? What's like your best run ever?
Without dying?
Yeah. Like most survival time.
Yeah. The best one I ever had, I actually, it was on B41. I started at the it actually might be called Busy Beaver. The campground.
Camp Busy Beaver.
Yeah. And I literally retired that character. I built a bridge out to the island and lived on it. So I did like basically it wasn't really a wilderness run because there was stuff around there, and I did have to make some runs into town. But I ran it. That was my goal for that run, was to build a self-sustaining island, and made it all the way through the winter and spring. And then retired that character in the spring once I'd lived through the summer using trapping and foraging.
That is sick, actually. That so you basically made it like a full year in Zomboid.
Yeah.
That is not an easy feat, because I know a lot of people who have not been able to do that. And technically not even myself. My official PB is 7 months, 29 days. And unofficially...
Nice.
It's about 9 months.
Nice.
Oh, are you serious?
Seriously?
Oh my. All right, here, I'll give you the car key. I'm gonna go in there. We can't leave without a Spiffo plush. I just dropped it on the ground right there. You keep the car running. I'm gonna go in for the Spiffo plush. Okay. I gotta lure them out a little bit. I did not see a little Spiffo plush though. Oh, they are in there. Wow, okay. It might be lunchtime for the Zomboids, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if we're getting in there.
Oh, don't go around the corner. There's like...
Are there
go
more?
around that left corner. There's like 30 of them over there.
Oh my god. What do you think? We leave or do we take this?
I think we roll out.
I'm personally ride or die, but I also want to make sure we don't get eaten, of course. I don't think I can say, oh, you know what? Yeah, no, never mind. I'm not ride or die. I'm not ride or die. I'm not. Never mind. If you can just back up to the street over here by the Easy Mart,
Yeah.
That'll be... Oh, the Zippy Mart, excuse me. Perfect, thank you.
Let's head back. I'm like for some reason, super stressed out. Maybe because I'm bitten, but...
Surely not. No, there's no way.
That's me. Just in case we want to come back to Spiffo, like.
Of course.
Move out there. Oh, is that a? Oh, there's a pipe wrench laying on the ground over there. Well, I'm never gonna get to plumb sinks because I'm gonna go live with the Zeds. But
No, well, you said you're going to be immune, so you're fine.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot.
So you can come back and get that, yeah. Oh, did you want a cheeseburger too? I was able to get these out of Spiffos before everything went to hell. There we go. Delicious Spiffo
look at us.
burgers. Yeah. Cradling the burger too, the way we hold it. Look at that. My character is still freaking out though because of the fear of blood. We did a lot of fighting today.
Finish my cigarette here.
Well, while you're finishing that, we can kind of get back into some interview stuff if you're okay with that. I want to jump in, though, and kind of talk specifically now about Zomboid and the upcoming stable release. Because you guys, like you mentioned previously, the blog post went out. It's coming out soon. We're going to be getting stable, finally, after 2 years. You joined Zomboid in February of this year. Is that correct? Do I have the timeline right?
September of last year is when I officially, my day one,
Okay, so you've been around Zomboid for a while as a player and a mod developer, but you've only just recently joined the development team. How has the development process changed on Build 42 with your arrival? Has it changed at all, or is it still kind of the same?
I would say it's definitely changed, and that is one of the things that the Indie Stone identified as a need. You know, one of the reasons that I nailed the job was that they wanted to make some changes, and some of that is specifically around the game design side. You know, when you have 20 folks sitting in a call or on a Slack thread, you know, talking about, you know, should barricade be re-implemented into, you know, the right click menu, and if so, how should it be done, or, you know, where should it be? And, you know, it can be hard where, you know, you might have 15 people that are like yes, and you have 15 other people that are like no. So a lot of times, you know, just having someone whose role it is and job it is to go, yes, we're going to do it. This is how we're going to do it. If it doesn't turn out, then yeah, it's my bad. I'm sorry.
So in a way, you've kind of taken the reins then, almost. Not necessarily from like, I'm making all the decisions, but like, this is what we're focusing on, it sounds like.
I think so, yeah. Prioritizing features, I think, is a big part of what I've done. Sometimes that's from you know what, yes, I would want to change that, but it's not really hurting anything right now, and it, you know, affects a bunch of different systems, so let's just leave that sit for right now. It's not really hurting anybody. But a lot of times it's we have 3 different proposals on how to make this better, and they're all equally valid, and they're all good ideas. Which one should we do? You know, a lot of times, you know, when I'm working with engineers, they'll give me like, hey, here's the 3 proposals. Like literally this happened the other day. It was like, here's 3 ways I as an engineer see to, you know, tackle this problem. They're kind of all equally valid from a code perspective, but I'm not quite sure which one would be best from a gameplay perspective. And I looked at it and was like, oh, well, you know, this third one it's consistent with this other feature that's similar to it. And I think it would be discoverable to players to have it implemented in this third way. So let's roll with that. If you click on the oven, you see on the right-hand side of the loot menu, you've got turn off and you've got settings. And, you know, that feature and along with the, you know, kind of loot stuff, the move to floor, you know, that was one of the developers took the initiative and came up with that concept and to put those buttons there, which was really cool. But again, at the time, then that got pulled off of the right mouse click button. Well, if you were used to right mouse click, you might never even look into that lower corner and go, oh, I turn it on and off here. And so in this case, we ended up duplicating it so it's on both. You can right click, you see gray oven, you see turn off, you see settings, but it's also up there on the right hand side. And that's okay that it's in 2 different places. Some people might like it one way. But yeah, so that process, and then as well as just traditional game development, working with the other directors to document an organized pipeline for evaluating when things need to be done, keeping an eye on things like, for example, cooking and nutrition isn't a focus for Build 42. We are planning a cooking and nutrition revamp at a certain point. So, you know, part of my role is as different suggestions and bug reports came in, it was like, okay, no, we're going to move that into that future bucket of cooking revamp. We're not going to redo the way that cooking recipes work right now, even though we are planning to do a hit on that at some point. So I'm going to move these over into that bucket, and then when it's time to look at that feature, we'll sit down. Like first aid is another example of those kinds of things. Like we're not really touching it now. If there's a big bug or if there's a problem, TIS, I think, learned a lot from Build 42 in Project Zomboid, and we're continually looking at improving our processes, improving our pipelines. I think you've probably noticed an uptick in updates over the few months. Those kind of pipeline processes are a continual improvement, and the team's been really great about putting up with me and working with me on that stuff too.
Well, that is awesome. It's really interesting that you brought up a cooking overhaul, because that's interesting. That's one of my favorite things to do. Is I love making delicious stews. In fact, you can have some of the stew I just made if you would like.
Ooh. Yeah.
That's going to be really it's full of calories, and it's also going to make you happy. So.
Oh, well, I don't know if it's going to help with this queasiness that I'm feeling, though. I'm feeling queasy for some reason. I don't know why.
Probably the cigarettes. Maybe you're just a little
yes.
sick. Yeah.
Did you put the rat in here? Oh, no, you haven't cooked
No,
the rat
I didn't.
yet.
Oh, I should cook the rat, though. I really should. I wouldn't want to waste the rat. You're so right.
Yeah, don't let him wait. He sacrificed for us.
Yes. That is a good point. I don't actually know if you're able to put the rat into stews.
I think you have to... I don't know if rats can.
I might have left the rat in the car. I'll go double check in a moment. Hold on. Well, again, very interesting you mentioned a cooking overhaul. As you mentioned, it's probably not coming in Build 42.20, but I'm curious in general. Is there anything new outside of the reported performance improvements, fixes, multiplayer rework stuff? Is there anything new coming to Build 42.20 for the stable release that maybe people can look forward to?
There is a couple surprises that are coming with the stable release. So, like I said in the blog, barring unforeseen circumstances, that means, barring we find out that, for some reason 4220, explodes multiplayer, or we have some, game crippling, error that turns up that we haven't found yet. There's going to be some new content that's going to be launched along with that. We've been testing it internally. It's got really positive feedback. I'm really excited about it, but if I give any more hints than that, I'm going to be in person with the team and develop in England next week, and they will literally stab me if I give away too much. I feel the pain that saves aren't going to make that transition from 419 to 420, but I think this will go a long way to making up for that, along with just knowing that the game will be stable and there won't be another, an update every, 3 weeks to blow everything up again. So,
well,
for the short term.
It sounds like whatever is coming is going to be massive and really amazing for everybody to try out. So hopefully we'll all be able to enjoy that stuff soon. It's great you brought up, though, of course, that with Build 42.20 becoming stable, we're not going to have to worry about our playthroughs coming to an end. So this is going to be great for those on Build 41 who haven't played Build 42 because they don't want to deal with that, but also for the modding community who now will have a very solid foundation to build upon. And I read in the blog post that you guys are finally going to be releasing updated modding tools for the community as well. Is there any insight you can give us into those tools?
Probably not insight as far as, what modders are going to be able to come up with, because modders consistently amaze me with what they build in Project Zomboid. I mean, the Ark recently, right?
I was going to bring that up later on.
Yeah.
I was curious if you've seen that, but...
Oh, amazing. I have not had a chance to play it. I definitely, once 42 Stable comes out, I'm going to check it out. I know a lot of folks were waiting for stability, right? Like, you don't want to, spend 3 weeks, working on your mod that, maybe a gun mod, and then, Christian released a new ammunition change, and now all the ammunition files that I set up all need to have one thing changed in them, and I have to go update 50 files, and then you re-update it again. But from a tool tool set, the updated world Z, so the mapping tools, but I think the big one is going to be the animation tool, AnimZ, giving the mod creators more tools to build the content that they want to build. We're always looking for those opportunities. We're going to continue to work on those opportunities. We think about modding as a core fundamental pillar of Project Zomboid. And so when we look at features and how content is organized, modding is part of that decision-making tree. And we're also working kind of behind the scenes on more resources for them, as far as like documentation, forum discussion places. That can always be a challenge too, right? Like how do I find out how to get started on this? At some point, I'd love to I'm coughing again. I should probably move to the interior of the building.
No, you're all good. You're all good.
Yeah. But information on like best practices. When I first started modding Project Zomboid, some of the mods I opened up and actually looked at, and I saw things that as a scripter, scripting is my kind of my technical background. I looked at that and I'm like, wait a minute, you're checking this like every tick? Don't check things every tick. Like, you just check them every 10 minutes of in-game time, or just check it like this. There's a lot of kind of coding practices or best practices for like you've probably seen the mods where it works fine when it's just that mod, but then you add 3 more mods and now all of a sudden your game's running at 2 frames a second, or you're having conflicts. How to set your mods up in a way that'll have the compatible with other mods, because as soon as you get a mod blows up on the workshop, the first thing your comments fills up with is, can it work with the jackets mod? Can you make it work with this mod? And then people start going, can you make it work with this creepy waifu pillow mod? And you're like, I don't know, should I?
Right.
I don't know about that one, but
no, that is a headache for sure. There's a couple modders in the chat right now bringing that up too.
Shout out to my modders. I respect what you guys do, and gals. It's amazing.
As the sun rose and we finished up our discussion, we shifted our focus back towards the needs of our base. There was still some building equipment that we wanted, so we drove right back over towards the warehouse to grab those last few items we were looking for. Would you like to hop in the car? I grabbed the last few tools I needed, and
right.
Maybe we can go loot the police station?
Yeah, let's do it.
Guess what I got for you?
Oh, ooh.
I got you one of these if you would like it. Right under your feet.
Oh, nice.
Found that in a random box. I love the crowbar. So you're team long blunt versus axe, I guess?
Well, yes. Over axe, I'm team long blunt. In general, the way I run now is I tend to run long blunt on my back. If I can get it, a nightstick on my belt. And I carry both so that when I'm looting inside, I can switch to short blunt with the garbage bag in my right hand.
Okay.
And throw my loot in there. And that way, if I get into a tight location, I can just drop the garbage bag. I can, whack them with the nightstick if I need to. But if I get into really heavy, I can, drop the garbage bag and switch back to long blunt. And then, of course, also, after the power goes out in the back room, I can run the nightstick with the flashlight.
Yep.
But yeah, I think I mentioned it earlier, I never ever want to accidentally put in holes into that beautiful military jacket or an amazing pair of leather pants, and I save my axes for cutting down trees. Ooh, speaking of axes,
would you like that? You want to loot that? We can take a look. It's not that bad. Little firefighter zomboids going by.
I'm a little slow with my depression because something is, my smoking and everything is making me sad.
I can pull for you if you need.
I'm okay right now.
Okay.
They're all on you anyway.
They do like me. Yeah, they do prefer me, it seems. But that's okay. That's par for the course. Me and them, we have a very love-hate relationship.
I love that I'm still wearing a mask while I'm bitten.
This is a random thought I've actually had. But I've noticed in the past, sometimes when I'm fighting like a hazmat zomboid or like a zombie wearing a mask, and then they bite me somehow, it's like, damn. Have you guys thought about making it so if a zombie is wearing a mask, they cannot get a bite on you?
That's not a bad idea. We'll definitely put that. It's funny because there are some things like that implemented. Like actually, if zomboids have their ears ripped off, it affects their hearing.
Wait, they can have their ears ripped off?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you actually look on their head models, sometimes they'll have their chunks like sides of their head ripped off and their ears will be gone, and that actually affects their hearing. Based on the sandbox settings, it'll downgrade their hearing, I think, to the next level down, and you can actually end up with some deaf zombies because of that. But that would be actually a pretty interesting gameplay experience where I think they did that at Walking Dead, like in the prison. They had some zombies in like riot helmets, and they couldn't take them down, but the zombies couldn't bite them back, and so they were just in this like push contest with like these Zeds that couldn't bite them. Yeah, it'd be definitely interesting.
You just shocked everybody in my chat, by the way. No one knew that was a thing.
I am still constantly surprised at the depth of the systems that are built into Project Zomboid. I still run into things all the time that I'm like, wow, I can't even, comprehend, like, coming in from the AAA side. No producer would ever sign on, I'm going to spend 2 years building out this system that allows, that kind of in-depth.
I can't even imagine, because on an indie too, I mean, to be fair, this game has been in development for what, over a decade? It's been insane.
Yeah, a little over a decade. I think it's coming close to 15 years now. Yeah, it's been a while.
While we're on that subject and just fighting some zombies around here at the front of the police station, I'm curious if the roadmap at all for the future of the game has shifted, because obviously once you guys have polished out the stable release and it's in the area you want, I'm assuming a lot of the focus is going to be Build 43. Is the big ticket item for Build 43 still going to be NPCs, or have you guys adjusted things a little bit?
Well, the roadmap has definitely shifted. There's things that have shifted in the roadmap. Some of that is things that didn't get fully, as fleshed out in B42 as, we hoped, or didn't come together. Things I mentioned already, first aid needs a pass, electrical needs a pass, even some of the existing skills like pottery or glassmaking need additional work. As far as, NPCs are still the big roadmap ticket item. But I think, JS3T, baby.
You found a JS3T? Ooh.
He doesn't have any shotgun shells. He has a bulletproof vest. I don't really.
I'm inside right now. We can check all of them for keys and get into the armory and probably get tons of ammo.
Do you want the shotgun?
I mean, I won't say no.
All right. I'm going to give you the shotgun.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway, back to your original question. NPCs are, a big planning thing to, look at, how those are going to work. What does NPCs mean? And, one of the other things we're going to be looking at in the future, whether it be Build 43 or a different version is looking at zombie migration. Can we get sort of more of that kind of horde feel of migrating hordes, or that feeling of, a big wave might come through the base without doing it in a gamey way, doing it in a Project Zomboid way. And that's one of the important things, when we look at NPCs, it's not about dropping in some scripted people that run around and do pre-scripted things just so that we can say there's NPCs there. That's not the way that we want to do it. If we do it, we want to do it to the legacy that Project Zomboid is built, and to the depth that Project Zomboid is built. So that'll definitely be one of the things that I'm going to be working on.
Well, I'm excited to see what the NPCs end up becoming, and I can understand why you would want to take your time with that feature, because that is something people have been wondering about for a long time. I mean, there's been many members of the community as well who have made their own NPC mods, like for example Slayer, Superb Survivors, things like that in the past. When you think about creating NPCs vanilla, it sounds like you just want to make sure they integrate everything into the systems already there in the game.
I mean, NPCs, and what we're we're talking about is AI that represent humans, and AI is, having worked on AI in a variety of games, it is not an easy thing. It is not a little thing. I remember I joked in after Takedown shipped, and some of our biggest critiques were around AI and how they worked. The next game I actually shifted over to was a game where all the enemies were robots, because I was like, I can just have AIs that every enemy just does one thing, and that's all they do, and it can be natural because they're robots, and then nobody will critique them for like doing things that look stupid. Having AI and NPCs that are an integral part of the world and react to the world the same way that they would react to you. They're not on just a trigger that, player enters, 50 meters within AI. Now their AI, activates, and they, walk to player, give dialogue tree, whatever, scripted things that you would do in more of an open world game. But I think the challenge, and one that I think both the team and I are excited about taking on, is doing it the Project Zomboid way. I don't think any player wants to have, scripted AI that are gonna, like, on day 6, Joe shows up and everybody's run, and Joe says, hey, could you help me? I have rats in my basement. Could you please come clean out my rats, and I will give you 3 cheeseburgers, right? Like that's not what they want to see. That's going to be an organic process, of trying things and implementing them, and, getting obviously the team's feedback first, and then greater people, and it's going to be a building block process. I'm excited about it and intimidated by it at the same way. AI and Ghost Recon are nothing compared to the amount of lifting that the AI in Project Zomboid are going to need to do. We have AI that could potentially need to work as enemy AI. They could potentially need to work as squad AI. They need to work as lore people. They need to interact with the world. They may, need to hold up. They need to be happy. They need to be sad. They need to be scared. They need to be hurt. Like, all of these things need to be encompassed within this. So I think it was the right decision for the Indie Stone to not try to just tack on AI onto Build 42 or NPCs onto Build 42 just so they could check a box. And that's not my plan to do either. So yes, it is still on the roadmap. Yes, it is planned. What form that takes, I'm being relatively speculative here. So whoever's recording this and comes back in 5 years and like, Christian said, on Beaver's stream that they were going to get sad, and they don't get sad. Like, oh crap, I forgot about that. Yeah. Whatever it may be, but that's my goal. Game development reaches reality. It hits, performance and optimization and all sorts of challenges. But we want to make them the best that they can be.
I'm sure when NPCs drop, there's going to be a lot of customization and sandbox options as well. But I just love that you guys are taking into account all of this related to whether it be chatting with NPCs, maybe doing quests for NPCs, maybe building parties or whatever. But it's so interesting to get your take on that, because I know a lot of people are excited for NPCs.
The thing I would caution to temper or caution folks to think about is that every single person that's listening to this, when they think about what NPCs in Zomboid means, likely has a different interpretation of what that means and what that is. I may have just like really offended someone that was like, well, I want Joe to come up and tell me that, he needs 17 rats killed, because I love doing that in Fallout, or I love doing that in, Elder Scrolls or whatever it may be. And, there potentially could be, some scripted actions, but, like you said, when systems break down to take you out of that immersive experience, that's when, that's what we don't want to get into. And, being respectful of players that, there's players that also, they've been playing Project Zomboid with no NPCs, and they like that I never can say this word, but like the nihilism of, being the last person on Earth and everyone else is dead. And I personally kind of, sometimes I like that. Sometimes I mainly because I'm barricading my base against bandits that I, intellectually know may never come, but I'm still building shooting ports to just in case. Having, like you said, those sandbox options, the game still needs to work without them. If they all die, or if a player just, disables them through sandbox, or, potentially, someone wants to make a role player server with no NPCs. We still have to support those various different things. So it's always a balancing act, and it's always, trying to find, again, a way for things to organically fit into the gameplay systems to where the gameplay systems can still function either without them, or, a player that, you couldn't do some kind of RPG thing to go like, well, you have to befriend 20 NPCs to get your charisma to a certain level before you can, up your first aid skill, because a player might just shoot all the NPCs in the head right off the bat and then go, why can't I level my first aid? Oh, well, you had to make friends with NPCs in order to do that. Oops.
That's going to happen,
I'm
by the way.
It would absolutely happen.
Did you do that alarm?
Oh, no, that wasn't me.
Oh, okay. Oh, that was me again. Oh, god damn it. Okay. Every car I touch has an alarm, Serellan. I don't know why this is I just wanted to get a bandage. This is... where are you at right now?
I'm right at the entrance to the station. I was actually looking for a bandage to change my dirty bandage.
Oh, I have one right now. I can drop it on this dirty ground next to all the dried blood, if you would like.
Let me just check my bite. It might have healed by now.
It may have healed.
Yeah. Oh no, it's massively infected. Okay. I have alcohol wipes. I should probably... I'll disinfect it. That'll take care of any infection that might be.
I think there was disinfectant in the ambulance too, if you need it. If you find an antibiotic, that might help too. Since we already had the alarm go off, I'm just gonna...
I was gonna say, the alarm went off anyway. You might as well rock and roll a little bit.
Yeah. The first shot with the shotgun jammed a little bit, by the way, but that's okay.
Pump guns actually do jam in real life. It's a myth that they don't.
Really?
They do, yeah.
If you want, we can try to go back to the house. I mean, I got tons of ammo and guns if you would like some.
Yeah, we can head back.
Okay. Oh, I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up. People are saying, though, that you could just simply press Q to get the cure for your bite if it's a problem.
Oh, that's true. I like to press Q to say hi. That was my intro to the community, so...
I remember that. I was actually reading that last night, again, to prepare for today. I have to ask this, and again, I don't want to get you in trouble with the rest of the dev team, so if you can't answer, feel free to say, I can't answer. But with build 42.20 going stable sometime towards the end of the summer, when do you likely think we'll see news about build 43?
I mean, I can't really give an answer on that, but don't expect it in the very short term.
Okay.
I will say this. There are folks working on future versions of Project Zomboid. Mainly from a foundational standpoint, engine improvements, such like that right now. We are planning a support update for build 42. Some of that's going to be optimization. Some of that's going to be looking at some of the features that didn't get fully implemented in build 42 that we still want to include that shouldn't that won't break saves and stuff that we can put in, and also some of the late game stuff. Why can't I just take apart my plant drying rack and make a leather drying rack?
Well, thank you so much for the delicious drink. If you want to sit down, we can continue our conversation. And if you're getting nauseous, I mean, I don't know how you feel about turning into a zomboid, but maybe at the end we can put you out of your misery. We can.
It wasn't staged. We didn't stage it, everybody. I literally got bit on accident, and yeah.
That was not. So I'll say this: the original ending I was going to have is I was going to have an admin spawn in 100 zombies in front of our base, and we would just go down fighting. But this is even better. So
I think it is. It's apropos.
To go back really quick on build 42's unstable development cycle. Obviously, there's been a lot of updates and changes throughout the 2 years it's been in the works. I'm curious though, is there anything that you guys were working on that maybe you loved, you were experimenting with it, but inevitably, for one reason or another, just didn't make the cut?
One easy take is kind of the expansion of the workstation concept. So while workstations as a feature is implemented, the idea behind that system is that it would allow interactions of different ways with different things. For example, an espresso machine, the soda machine. So looking at those tile interactions across the board of things that players that should be interactable but aren't. That's one of the big things that dealing with the challenges with workstations and crafting and interaction and all that didn't get as fleshed out as we wanted it to. That'll ideally be addressed in the future.
I remember reading that in a blog post a long time ago. I remember seeing like a mock version of what that might be, specifically with the vending machine, where it was like you see like a keypad and you have to type in the number and then insert a dollar. So that's what you're talking about there with that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think there is a prototype somewhere. That was one of the early prototypes that was done to explore that system. And again, not saying that it'll be this way or that way, but things like potentially keypads on security doors, where you could potentially find instead of having to find a key, you find the a notepad in the cops. Loot inside that building that has the keypad and interacting with it that way. So there's a few different varieties. Like an espresso machine, I don't actually understand how espresso machines really work, but however espresso machines work, so you can add your foam and do fancy little things like that. Expanding on that is one thing that didn't get into Build 42.
Obviously, Indie Stone, they've been working on Zomboid forever. All right, they've been doing it for years and years and years. But I've noticed over the last few years, you guys have been slowly branching out a little bit. You've been doing some merch through Makeshift. You've been doing some collaborations with other games, specifically Terraria, having Spiffo in Terraria. And I'm just curious if that's something players are going to continue seeing in the upcoming future, and maybe even some developments into things outside of gaming. Have you guys considered like a Project Zomboid TV show or like a comic book series or anything like that?
It's funny, we get asked that a lot. And actually, I mean, I'll put my marketing hat. We actually announced a Steam bundle with RimWorld yesterday. So if you don't have either, you can get 20% off both RimWorld and Project Zomboid. But one of the cool things about TIS is they are truly independent, right? So, the founders that own and run the company, have the power to do those things. And if you don't think that Project Zomboid has not been approached by people that want to do merch and stuff like that in the past, or cross collaborations, it absolutely has happened. But I will say that they're very protective of trying to make sure that anything like that, it respects Project Zomboid as an entity that's been created both by them and with alongside the community that's stuck with it so long. So anything like that would be relatively conservative. There are some maybe things like the the Terraria crossover that we may be seeing in the mid future. I won't say near future, but it's definitely things that are on the table. There's been people that have been interested in above it. I can't give any specifics. Obviously, it would be really cool. I think Zomboid. I think one of the things that was really fascinating to me was sitting down with the founders in England and talking to them and professing to me, Zomboid is up in those high tier impacts as a zombie fan. I love zombie content. I love zombie movies. I always have. I'm kind of down in the dregs of the bottom of Amazon Prime of I should watch this new zombie movie. Oh, it's one of those that's like a student film filmed on a iPhone. Oh gosh, this is so terrible. When I talk to them about the impact that Zomboid had on me as a player, not just as a designer, but me as a player and the world that's been created, it's bigger than just an isometric zombie game. Spiffos and the lore and the background, this is a real world that's been created by this team. I guess I'll go back to the key point of, wanting that anything like that, external stuff, always want to be respectful of that legacy that the team created.
Another thing that I love about this game too, speaking on the lore, it is the type of lore where if you don't care about the lore and the storyline, you don't have to touch it at all. You can ignore all the TV shows, you can ignore the flyers and just play the game, or you can be an insane collector and you can go after every single brochure, read all the random notes in the game, check out and find all the random radio broadcasts that play on the radios, and that's something that I personally love, and that's part of the reason I play Zomboid so much this day, is just building out my own little characters and kind of just like seeing how they fare in these worlds. So I love that. I think a lot of people, based on the chat reaction, would love a TV show or a movie of Zomboids. So if you ever want to do that, you let them know that we would love that. But of course, at your own pace, if ever.
Hollywood, call me, but it's got to be the right thing.
Well, another question really quick, and this will be my last one personally before I open up questions from the viewers. A console version of Zomboid. That is something, whenever I play Zomboid and I'm streaming, one of the most common questions. Can I get this on Xbox? Can I get this on PlayStation? I always have to tell them, no, sadly, no.
No.
Will we ever see Zomboid on console?
There's two answers to that. One, there's the technical aspect of the code base and the way the code is built do have some barriers to console. The game was built with Java and Lua, so there's some intricacies with how the consoles work just on a fundamental level. It would take quite a bit of engineering work. It's not the case of like press console button, export to PlayStation or anything like that. So there would be technical hurdles. There's also the consideration that has to be taken into account of when would be the right time to do that. Is it 1.0? Is it right before 1.0? We have no desire to just do a port of some game built in Unreal Engine that has a Zomboid label on it that is actually just a completely different game that kind of looks like it, right? I think if we were to do a console version, I'm not ruling it out, and I'm not ruling it like saying, November, it'll be on Xbox Live.
It's something you guys would love to do. It's just a matter of, it's a lot of work. It's not as simple as people would imagine. And it's also just got to be done the right way.
Yeah.
So maybe one day, and I'm assuming that also ties into mobile, maybe one day a mobile version, if we can.
Yeah, it would be, having the same constraints, right?
You're not making this in something like Unity, where you can basically press a couple buttons and it spits out a console version. It would have to be what some people in chat have said a moment ago, kind of like a Minecraft Bedrock moment, where it's like you have to redo almost everything to get it to run on the console, essentially. At this point, with so many people tuned in live for this stream, and with all of my questions thoroughly answered, I opened up the floor to some of my viewers, offering my community a chance to have the developer answer their question. And here are some of what they asked.
Have you ever seen anything about introducing extreme weather events such as blizzards and heat waves? Yes, I have thought about that extensively. And one of the things I'd like to do in the future, it's kind of a broader thing, but look at some of the sandbox options to introduce some more extreme things into that. They could lead into potential new game modes. I know, again, some modders have done some really cool stuff with weather events. There's some underlying systems that would need to be done to support that, but I'd love to play with some crazy weather stuff, even crazier than you can get now.
On my end, I have a question from Derp, who actually is in the chat right now, but they ask, what games or game genres do you like playing outside of Zomboid?
So I used to be a super hardcore tactical shooter player. I grew up on shooters and RTSs, was kind of my bread and butter. I play shooters less now. I mainly play shooters on console, mainly because when I had to make the shift as a designer to shooters on console, I got used to playing with shooters on console, and now shooters on PC feel weird for me. And I am definitely stuck between how much time I can get to my own playtime, because I also have to play with my son. I was just playing Helldivers with him yesterday, and he was calling me a noob. I was playing on Xbox and he was on PC, and he was talking smack, and I was like, bro, like, I was literally doing this before you were even a twinkle in your parents' eyes. I still really like Fallout 4. I love to get back in. I manage the same damn settlements I've been managing forever, and I go on loot runs in Fallout 4, even though I know it's pointless. I don't need any more stuff. I've got everything maxed out. I should do a video run of all my settlements in Fallout. Battletech, I really like the Hairbrain Scheme Battletech. I've been in Battletech forever. I think Hairbrain Scheme's adaptation of Battletech to PC is chef's kiss, one of the most amazing adaptations of a tabletop board game. And I play Fortnite every once in a while, but mainly with my son. Play duos. I'm not good at Fortnite at all. And then every once in a while, I'll jump into some Halo here and there. AoE 2 HD Definitive Edition, still love that. And someone's working on a really cool. It's an indie game that's clearly inspired by Command & Conquer. I'm not sure if they said that. I'm not sure if it's out yet, but I need to go check that one out. Tameable animals or breedable animals? I'm guessing you're talking more about dogs and cats kind of thing. As far as things like pets, cats and dogs, maybe in the future. Although I've been really enjoying watching the modders making cats and dogs and them going completely insane. I've seen the video of the creepy German Shepherd like turning into a Zed and climbing over a fence. I'm not sure if that's theirs.
I think that was Build 41 before animals were even a thing. But Frailith is working on a dog mod, and also they made a mod called Project Meowboid, which just adds in cats to the game.
Awesome. If we do cats, they have to be like real cats, so they just hate you and whine and complain all the time. And
if you add cats, see how all the ammo is stacked up on our table? I need to come home and see all of it on the ground if there's a cat.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
Exactly.
Oh my god. I wasn't expecting that. Dear God.
Oh no!
No. Get bit in solidarity. Oh dear. Do I get bit in solidarity? Do you want a little nibble? Like I'm fine giving you a little nibble if you want.
It's chat's call. I'm putting it in their hands.
Oh. A lot of people are saying I should get bit. Okay.
So now I can say that Beaver took off his clothes and let me bite him. I'm gonna remember that.
Okay, yeah. Oh, there you go. That was a bite right away. Wow, first attempt.
Nice.
Oh, are you calm now? Oh, I thought for a second you were satiated. Apparently not. No. I'll just wait for this. You're taking a while.
I know.
You are letting this drag on.
Where's your health at?
It's about to go down to 0. But I was a trooper.
There we go.
I was a trooper. Well, is this our life now, or are you just going to be eating from my leg?
I guess so.
Oh. Okay. I might be stuck under the table. That might be what's happening. I don't know. In which case, yeah, this is just so kind of a weird situation to be in, but that's fine. This is from Free Beyond the Sea. Are there any hidden Easter eggs in the game currently that have not yet been found by the community?
Yes.
Yes.
I know some specific ones. I'm not going to tell you where they are, but yes, there absolutely are.
Okay, so we'll have to get out there hunting soon. Okay. No hints? Not like even a tiny little crumb?
I'll give you a hint for one of them.
Okay.
It's in a tower. It's in a very tall tower.
Start checking every tower, guys. If you're in Louisville, go up to the top of every skyscraper. Final question, and we're going to wrap it there. Thank you again for so much of your time and staying over. This was incredible. Will Zomboid ever expand outside of Kentucky?
That is an amazing question that I can't answer.
Okay. That's simple.
I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that.
Maybe one day, team. Perhaps one day. Thank you so very much for joining us tonight. This was an incredible stream. It was amazing to get to chat with you and hear a little bit more about you and the dev team and some of the work that's coming up. I'm sure we're all very excited for Build 42.20 to go stable. Everybody to jump in and do some big multiplayer servers, some giant long-term playthroughs. It's going to be really, really exciting. And we're just so grateful for all the work that you and the rest of the team does on this great game.
Sorry I got bit, and thank you to you for having me. And the biggest shout out is to the community. You know, without people actively playing this game and giving us feedback, this game, you know, wouldn't be what it is today. And then, you know, my personal shout out to the development team for giving me an opportunity to contribute to this project. It's an amazing honor, and I'm so excited for what's coming, and you know, just being able to get up every day and work on this game is so cool. So thanks everybody, I really appreciate it.
And with that, our conversation came to a close. An important thing that I want to highlight is that Serellan stayed over an extra 45 minutes from when we agreed to end our stream just to speak directly with our community and answer some of their questions. If you enjoyed this video and you want even more, there is a full 4-hour-long uncut VOD available on my VODs channel that you can check out with even more insights and information from Serellan about what's coming in the future and his time over at the Indie Stone. So feel free to subscribe over there, and of course to this channel for more content in the future. And if you would like to tune into these streams when they happen live, I am live over on Twitch typically Monday through Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. I hope to see you all pop in for a stream soon, and thank you so much for watching this video.